There we go. Now we're streaming live on YouTube. That I forgot to push that final button of yes, I want to start. So starting in a little bit late. I'm Ashlee. Welcome, welcome. Today we are making 8 different party food recipes. So we're going to get started with the first one because I want to show just how easy these are and how quickly you can put these together. Now, I don't expect any of you to actually make 8 recipes for one party. I mean, I do, but I'm crazy and everyone knows that about me, so it's expected. But each one of these individual recipes is a super easy one you can throw together, take to a party, host a party and serve. They're great for game days, Super Bowl, all that stuff that we have coming up. Personally, I'm not really into the Super Bowl. Sorry, don't hate me. But I do love a party. So for me, I'm all about the food. So first recipe, and oh, all the cameras are up and working, yay! So here we go. Saucepan, butter. Now this is pseudo chili con queso. We're gonna add onions. Now I'm just doing half a recipe today because I'm making, 8 recipes and I don't need 8 full recipes sitting around my house and I already have a full fridge from all of my holiday cooking. So making half a recipe, you'll notice it's a little bit different than the written recipe that I have linked down below. So onion and green peppers. Now this is pretty much, and we're out of focus. Lovely, there we go. This is pretty much going to be Velveeta and salsa, right? It's a recipe everybody knows and loves, but my family's always done it this way. We've always sauteed extra onions and extra peppers. It's just how we like it. It's extra chunky that way. For the salsa, we're using picante, so it's a lot smoother. So you're still getting all the flavor from this, and then you're getting the chunks from the onions and the peppers. And spoon. My spoon is the same color as my backdrop, so I couldn't see it for a second there. Anyway, how was everybody else's holidays? I'm going to stir this and cook this, and I will respond to some questions while I do that. Christian Childs, hi, it's nice to see you. Jose Riviera, thanks for joining us. It's good to see you too. Karen, Manuel, hi. Hopefully you had a great break, everyone. Karen, I'm so cute. Oh, because I'm a total dork and I keep messing up. Thank you. Everybody, I would say everybody who knows me loves me, but that's not true. Nobody loves everybody, right? Everybody has people who don't like them. But people who take the time to get to know me and my quirky dorkiness, I think they put up with me relatively well. Anyway, so I kind of wish that one of my cameras was movable at this point so I could show you the behind the scenes of getting ready for these 8 recipes. I have 6 recipes from here to my wall on this counter, and on that counter back over there I have 2 more recipes. So prepping for this. I say that they're easy recipes and they only take a couple minutes to put together, but when you're making all 8 of them at one time, it's a little bit more time consuming than you would think. So, all right, back to the recipe because that's what you really want to see, right? So we're just going to saute the onions and the peppers until the onions are nice and translucent. Trinity, what is my favorite recipe to make? That's a good question. Everything. I just love cooking. Obviously, I tend to go more on the decadent sweets. If it's like favorite meal, my favorite one to eat is probably like spinach dip. Not really a meal, but it's one of my favorite things to make. I'm not including my spinach dip in this roundup of dips because that one is a little bit more time consuming, and I wanted to focus on ones that you could just really throw together, whether it's a lot of ingredients just thrown into a crock pot or it's a few ingredients that take a little bit of time. All of these are really, really, really easy in their own way. Jordan, I'm awesome. Oh, Jordan, you're awesome. Christian Child, just make cupcakes. I'm not a cupcake person. I really don't like cupcakes. I'm anti-cupcakes, except for my maple bacon cupcakes that I made a couple weeks ago for you guys. But I'm gonna find a way to make that a cake. But they're so inelegant to eat. The ratio. I'm OCD enough that the ratio for me is off. That ratio of frosting to cupcake. And let's be honest, I tend to make cakes for, 100 people or more, and I would much rather make a cake for 100 people than 100 cupcakes. Boring. Anyway, not really a cupcake person. I do make them occasionally for very, very special friends or special requests, but not very often. What made me start YouTube? Jose, that is a great question. I have been blogging for 10 years, and ooh, look, this is almost ready to go. I've been blogging for 10 years. So a couple years ago into blogging, I realized that as much as I loved sharing recipes with people, I'm not really a great writer. I'm much better like this with video and it's hard to communicate in writing all of this crazy, as well as remembering all like the details I want to share. I'm kind of a boring writer, but I'm not really a boring person. And so I felt like video would be a better way for me to teach recipes and techniques and really reach people. So that's why I started YouTube, and I love it. Hopefully you guys love it too. Kristen, you're awesome, Ashlee. Thank you. But you know and love me, so you have to say that. Karen, yes, see the maple bacon cupcakes. They're like my one exception. All right. So let's, usually I would let these saute just a little bit more, but today we're trying to get through a lot. So we're going to move on, and I'm going to just pour the picante. Now normally I use a huge jar of picante, but again, I'm halving these recipes today, so it's going to be a little bit less. And also, normally at this point, oops, wrong camera. Normally at this point, I would actually throw this recipe in a crock pot and just let it sit and let the cheese melt and stir it, every 15 minutes or so. And it takes about 2 hours on low for everything to melt together. But I only have one crock pot, and I didn't want to make you guys sit here for 2 hours, and I didn't want to have multiple batches of this. So we're kind of stove cooking everything, even the crock pot stuff today. So now I'm going to add all the Velveeta, and I'm actually going to put this on the stove behind me, put it on low and let the cheese melt while we move on to other recipes. Kind of a fake slow cooker, if you will. Oh, I'm tied up in cords. And I'm going to set a timer so that I don't forget to stir it, because I'm a dork like that, and it would totally burn if I didn't set an alarm. All right, so we are going to move on to our next recipe. And the next recipe on the list is also a queso, but this is a Copycat queso from the restaurant Chili's. They're beefy, cheesy, spicy, super spicy. Like this one isn't very spicy. The one on the stove right now, my regular classic easy chili con queso. This one has a lot more ingredients, but again, you don't have to do any sauteing. You just throw everything in the slow cooker and turn it on. But again, today, we're gonna put everything in a pot. So let's see, we're gonna start with the milk. Connie, I am making 8 different easy recipes that can be used for party food, like football party. Hopefully that answers your question. Jose, if I mess up with a recipe, do I start it over or do I keep the recipe? Like if I mess up live, I just keep going. If I mess up and it's an edited video, I'll start it over so that it looks right for you guys. All right, so I just put in milk. Now we're gonna add lime juice. Now I'm gonna add all of the spices. Now this one has a lot of spices, and that's why it's a spicy queso. All right, so aptly named, right? Paprika. And oh, I need to get my fan out. And it's in the other room, so I'm not getting my fan out. And then cayenne pepper. Now you can, this is one of those areas, and I'm gonna ruin my camera. Maybe one of my kids will come up and interrupt me, and they will save me by bringing me my fan. So the cayenne pepper, you can, this is the one that you want to add a little bit less if you want this a little less spicy, and a little bit more if you want it more spicy. I personally like it spicy, so try my amounts first before you change to anything else. Brooklyn, Scarlett, Jonathan, Paul, Edward, can someone help me? Just one person? Anybody? see if we can get a fan in here. I took it to the other room during break and I forgot to bring it back. Lime juice, paprika, cayenne pepper, now chili powder, and all the amounts are in the description box down below, or if you're on Facebook, in a link on the website. And again, I'm halving this recipe right now, so the amounts might look... Can you give me the fan that's in front of the projector? Little black fan. Thank you, sweetheart. Now my brain's all gone. So paprika, cayenne pepper, chili powder. I'm going to say them all because I have messed up on live and forgotten an ingredient. So I'm making sure to read it so I don't just go by my memory and forget everything. Cumin, one of my very favorite spices to work with. And this one is one of the more ingredient recipes dips, but like I said, usually you would just throw it in a slow cooker and be done with it. That would be it. You just have to stir it. Hi, yeah, that's it for all the spices. Thank you, dude. Say hi. Hi. Thank you for helping. Okay, now we can go back to the top shot. You can see everything. Or the side shot. All right, so I have all of the spices in there. Now, this is kind of the secret ingredient to all of this. It looks weird, but this is just canned Hormel chili with no beans. Any brand will work. You just want to make sure it's a no bean chili. All right. And then, of course, the Velveeta. And if this were, you know, you making it for real, you'd be done. You just would stir it every 15 minutes in your slow cooker and that would be it. You'd be ready in 2 hours on low to serve it. So this one is probably one of the most ingredients of all the dips, but there's nothing that you have to do. You just pour it all in. And it's really good. And if you are a fan of the Chili's queso, it really tastes just like it. When I was pregnant once, I was pregnant 5 times, but one of the times when I'm pregnant, I'm anemic. And rather than take iron, because that would be easy, I just eat a lot of meat. and this was one of my favorites. I would order it and then I would go to the checkout, you know, the drive-through, and not drive-through, but, you know, drive up and get it. And then I learned this recipe and then I never had to again. I was able to just make it. And I would make a big, huge batch and I'd eat it for breakfast, lunch, and dinner until I got sick of it. All right, so same thing as before. I'm going to put it over on the stove and we're going to come back to it. Stir this other one while I'm here. Put the timer back on. Otherwise I would forget. And now we're going to go to our very last recipe that needs any cooking at all. So for those of you who are joining us, who are just joining us, I'm showing you how to make 8 easy recipes perfect for game day, Super Bowl, stuff like that. We already have 2 recipes almost done. Right now they're just melting. That's it. All of the ingredient parts of it are done. And we're only a couple minutes in. Or I like to tell myself we're only a couple minutes in. I'm not looking at the clock. I don't want to know. I don't want to stress how much time it's taking. And we are ready to move on to recipe number 3. Now this is the only recipe that I'm making today that's not a dip. Because dips are just so easy and so perfect for game day. Sorry, I'm trying to clean up as I go. I have so many recipes over here. So this one is my 3 ingredient meatball. And a lot of people, as I've looked through the web, know this recipe. You might know it and love it already, but I grew up on this recipe. My mom would make it at all of our parties. And when I got older and I'm like, Mom, I have to have the meatball recipe. And she told me the ingredients. I didn't believe her. I thought she was a big fat liar because it sounds so strange. So, grape jelly. Not even kidding. Let's switch over here. Ugh. We're gonna melt the grape jelly first. And it won't take very long at all. Ugh. There's something about jelly. It's just like bleh, wiggle. Okay. And yes, I'm OCD enough that I'm trying to get every little bit out of the jar. And then the next ingredient, so large grape jelly and a large can of red enchilada sauce, any brand. And then Costco meatballs. You can use any frozen meatballs. You can make your own meatballs if you really want to. But again, these are fast and easy recipes, and Costco meatballs are by far my favorite. So, Connie, you got bumped. Oh, I'm so sorry. Hormel chili, you love it. Karen, good to go. Yes, chili cheese dip. Seems kind of hot. Connie, that is a spicy dip. Again, you can cut the spices down if you want to. How do I cook fish? You always mess up. Jordan, fish doesn't take very long to cook at all. Probably the biggest problem people have with cooking fish is that they overcook it. Cook is really delicate and it melts. It cooks really easily. Melissa, yummy. Hello from Barbados. Oh, I bet it's warm there. Hello from Ohio, probably cold. Hello from, and Happy New Year from Omaha, definitely cold. And hello and Happy New Year from Ontario, Canada. Oh, you guys are all looking for warm food just like I am, right? Okay, so this is already melting. Check it out. And it doesn't, this is one of those recipes, like I said, I grew up having this as a party food. My mom would make it for all the parties that she hosted. And, well, one, I never realized how weird it sounded until I grew up. But it was always just served as a party food. And then when we got older, my sisters and I were talking about how much we loved these meatballs, but we really only made them once a year. And we were young enough at the time with young children that we weren't hosting parties, so we missed having this at Christmas time when we weren't hanging out with our parents. And my one sister said that she makes it and she serves it over rice and her kids eat it as a rice dish, and it has quickly become my kids' favorite dinner, and it's easy enough that they make it themselves. So this is one of those meals that my teenagers make, and we have turned it into a meal because we're amazing like that. What started out as just an appetizer is, anyway, obviously you want to add some veggies and stuff like that to go along with it if you're healthy, but yeah, super, super easy. So this is almost melted, so we're going to add the enchilada sauce now. Now, my mom always cooked this over the stove, adding meatballs throughout the party to keep them warm, and so you didn't have to cook too many. But I have seen people take this same recipe and throw it in a crock pot. So again, you would just put all the frozen meatballs in the crock pot, pour the sauce over it, turn it on low, and leave it there until the meatballs are all cooked through. What my mom always did was put it in a big, huge, wide skillet, and then put the meatballs and sauce in and just heat it low and shallow. And as people ate the meatballs, she would just add more throughout the party. So there was always meatballs on the stove as people wandered in and out of the kitchen. So you can kind of do whatever you want here. It's really melted sauce, frozen meatballs, done, right? Doesn't get any, this is the easiest of all the recipes that we're making tonight. Hello from Michigan. Hello from Trinidad. Man, you guys are from all over the place. It's so good to see you. Anne, hi Anne. It's nice to see you. All right. Yes, Melissa, I said grape jelly. I know, right? The first time my mom told me how to make the ingredients for this, I was like, that's the dumbest thing I've ever heard. There's no way that that's the recipe that I ate my whole life. And it totally is. There's something about the sweet jelly and the spicy enchilada sauce, and it's just, mwah, marriage. It's awesome. Cheerful Cruz, you finally caught me live. Yes, you did. And you love my hair. Thank you so much. I'm in that awkward growing out stage, and I'm trying to hold on. But anyway, you had my cheesecake last night, Courtney. I'm so glad. Did you love it? I should ask, before I say I'm glad, I should ask if you liked it, right? Hopefully you loved it. All right, so I'm going to stir the two cheese sauces that we have melting on the stove because my alarm's beeping at me. And otherwise I would forget. That is what an alarm is for, right? Ooh, we're getting there. Oh, yep. And when these are all melted, you'll see how different they look. So even though they're both quesos, they're like polar opposites when it comes to quesos. You know, except for the fact that they're both queso, so they're not actually opposite of each other. All right, meatballs. The one ingredient I couldn't get out beforehand. Ooh. My kids are gonna smell these in a minute and they're all like gonna come up in hordes. Scissors, stay standing. Okay, so who here is actually looking for game day recipes, I should ask, right? Hopefully this is of interest to you guys. Easy party foods. My mom always did these for Christmas parties because, like I said, I didn't really grow up in a family that was big Super Bowl fan. And then my ex-husband wasn't really into sports, and so I'm not really into sports. But my favorite frozen meatball is Costco. Not sponsored, just my favorite. And so we're just gonna pour some of these in here. I'm gonna put the lid on and they're gonna cook through like in 15-20 minutes. They're already cooked, right? You just need to, we're just reheating them. Now, normally, if you're doing this for a whole party, I use all the sauce. If I'm doing it for just my family, normally I'd actually take some of the sauce now that it's melted and pour it out and I use it later. And I can usually get like 3 or 4 different times that my kids and I enjoy this. But for you guys, I'm just cooking it all. And again, I'm gonna move this back here so I can move on to the next recipe. Oh, I just stepped on my own cord, pulled down my own pants. I'm a dork. Turn that one down. Turn this one up, and I forgot to grab the lid. Oh. Okay, lid. Okay, 3 recipes down, and now I'm going to move my little cooktop because that is it for our warm dips. And now we're going to move on to the chilled stuff. Hey, sweetheart.
Hello.
What do you need?
Is this live action?
Uh-huh. Yep, it's live action. I'm a live action superhero, right? Okay, next recipe. Whew. All right, so this next one is actually one of the most popular dips on my site, and it also sounds a little strange. What is it about dips that the ingredients sound strange? In fact, there's been some of those Facebook videos that I've seen where people, what's that guy's name who watches the recipe videos and comments on them, and he's so funny, and he picks some of the strangest dips. It's pretty crazy. Anyway, so this is my cake mix and sprinkle dip. So I don't believe in using cake mix to make cake, but I do believe in using cake mix to flavor things so that they're cake flavored. In fact, my 6-year-old, his first birthday party 5 years ago was all cake mix stuff. Cake mix truffles, cake mix marshmallows, cake mix Rice Krispie treats, cake mix fudge. That's another really popular recipe. Cake mix dip, cake mix cookies. Everything had cake mix in it except the cake. Funny enough. Anyway, so cake mix dip. This is, again, another super, super easy one. So, a cup of plain yogurt. Let's turn that down. There, is that better? Easier to see? There we go. That's better. All right, so I'm so used to filming videos. I'm always like as if I'm filming for clients. I'm always like doing the hand motions. For you guys, it doesn't matter. Try not to be such a dork. Yogurt. So 1 cup of plain yogurt, not vanilla or anything like that, just plain yogurt. You can use Greek yogurt or anything like that. And then 2 cups of whipped topping. Now, whipped topping on blogs is code for Cool Whip or an off-brand. I have pretty much gone no Cool Whip in my entire life over the last couple of years. So I usually whip up my own stabilized whipped cream, which I have a recipe for on my site. But I know that I'm weird in the whole, this isn't dairy, and I prefer fresh whipped cream thing. So Cool Whip is a totally acceptable way to go. I did it for today just out of ease to show you these fast, easy recipes, because once you start stabilizing your own whipped cream, it becomes not an easy recipe. But If you are like me and you want that fresh whipped cream, stabilize it before you add it to the dip, or the dip will get too runny. Just word of warning. Come on. There we go. So whipped topping, aka soy. And then the cake mix. This is a lot of white on white on white, which is hard to see in video. I know, and I'm really sorry about that. And then you just want to stir it. Now you can get your hand mixer out and blend this one to the hand mixer if you want to, especially if you've already stabilized the whipped cream, so you already have your mixer out. Then I would just go ahead after stabilizing it, add everything else in and mix it. But I'm using my hand mixer for a recipe coming up, and so I didn't want to have to deal with washing it in between. And you don't have to use a hand mixer for this one. It would certainly go a little faster, but I don't know. I already have the spatula dirty, and why dirty up something else, and blah, blah, blah. Anyway, so this is actually a cake mix and sprinkles dip, but if you add the sprinkles too early, they actually bleed and become kind of, the color in them bleeds, and the rainbowy, colory stuff just kind of gets everywhere. Not really a good look, so I recommend not adding the sprinkles until the very end, right before you're going to serve this. Now this is good with things like animal crackers and Nilla wafers and berries and fruit. Not really good for veggies or breads or tortillas, in my opinion. It would also be good, like if you wanted to cut some, what's the word I'm looking for? Cake. Not regular cake, dense cake. My brain, pound cake. You could take some pound cake and cut it into strips and like toast them, so you kind of get like these little crunchy short bed toasty things. It's good on that too. I only know because I pretty much like sugar on everything. So I try sugar on everything. All right, so here is this dip. Let's actually get this angle to show you the texture a little bit better. There we go. All right, so now what you want to do is you just want to refrigerate this until you're ready to serve it, and then right before you're going to serve it, you're going to add in those sprinkles. So I am going to ask my beautiful assistant, hey sweetie, can you put this in the fridge for me?
Oh, sure.
Thanks. And we're going to start the next recipe. Thanks. They can't see you. You're good.
Oh, okay.
All right.
I got something on.
First page gone.
I got some of it on me.
Oh, well, don't spill it on the floor, please.
I didn't.
Okay, just put it in the fridge. All right. Sorry. Yes. I would say pound cake. Thank you, Karen. Dragon Lover, you just saw that I was live. What did you miss? We are 4 recipes down out of 8 really quick and easy dips and other party foods that you can make for like Super Bowl parties or holiday parties or any excuse for a party. What, honey?
Where do I put it?
Put it down the bottom. Move the lemons.
Okay.
How do you stabilize Cool Whip? You don't stabilize Cool Whip. It's already stabilized. I'm saying if you don't want to use Cool Whip, like I don't, and you want to use fresh... Can you not cough in here? Put it in your elbow.
Sorry.
If you want to stabilize the whipped cream, I have a recipe on my site for it where I talk about it, but you want to take, once the whipped cream is soft peaks, you want to add some bloomed gelatin to it, bloomed and melted gelatin and cooled, bloomed, melted and cooled gelatin to it, and then it will hold its form so that it won't just melt back into a puddle of cream. That's the short version. My mom's did the same thing with meatballs with grape jelly and barbecue sauce. I'm sure that would have that same tangy, sweet effect as the enchilada sauce and barbecue sauce. Your eggnog has been a huge hit in your home. I'm so happy to hear that. I'm so glad that you like it, Brant. You are dieting because of a bad gallbladder. Courtney, I'm so sorry. It's killing you. But you can't have too much cheesecake. Right? Hopefully you get everything fixed and you can go back to eating sweets soon. Melissa Hillard, I'm my only weekly. I do my live weeklies, and then I'm trying to do live weeklies on Wednesdays and edited weeklies on like Fridays or Saturdays. I'm trying to get back in the swing of things after summer off. You're loving the variety of options. Thank you so much. Connie, you got that. Man, over on Facebook, you guys are killing it. I'm having a hard time keeping up. Be a dork. Dorks Unite. Yes, Karen, I'm so glad that you're a dork too. 8 different recipes. Okay, Connie and Karen, you guys are helping each other out. Thank you so much. Your mom used chili sauce. Yep, same exact effect, Tracy. Okay, back to the bottom. So, 4 recipes down. Let's check on them really fast. We've got this is what happens when you don't put the timer back on. We have my queso, which is, oh man, totally melted and burning now. And done. Let me turn it off. Which is Velveeta and salsa, but with a mix of sauteing your own veggies, but super easy. And then we have the Copycat Chili's restaurant spicy queso, and that's also done. I'm going to turn that off. And then we have the meatballs, which is grape jelly and enchilada sauce and frozen meatballs, and those are also doing good. I'm going to turn that down. Okay, so, and then we just finished the cake mix and sprinkles dip, and that is in the fridge. So now we're going to go on to the vegetable dip. Now, I don't eat a lot of vegetables. If you have seen my site, you know healthy isn't really my jam. But I do love this vegetable dip. I've seen it called crack dip some places, but a lot of people take offense to that. So we're just going to call it veggie dip because you eat it with vegetables. And there we go. And again, like everything else today, super easy recipe. So we have, the first thing is sour cream. Sour cream is kind of a staple in a good veggie dip, in my opinion. And then bacon, hello, everything's better with bacon. Cheese, everything's better with cheese. And then only one more ingredient. The only flavor in this is ranch dressing mix. Now you can make your own ranch dressing mix, or you can buy the packets. Doesn't really matter. The best part about making it yourself is you can control the flavors. If you like more dill, or if you like more parsley, or if you like less dill. That's it. See? Veggie dip. And now you just want to stick this one in the fridge as well. And I am just sticking everything in the fridge really fast. And then when we're done, I'm going to pull everything out and we're going to look at the end results of everything. So my assistant left. So I got to stick this in my fridge myself. Ugh. Children, so lazy, wanting to like go play. All right. So I think that was our easiest one yet. Trying to clean up after myself. Okay. Next up is homemade hummus. And this, I ran out of space on my counter, so I have to get all the ingredients. Okay. Here we go. Okay. Homemade hummus. Now this you can make in a blender or a food processor, or you can use a hand blender for it, but it's one way or another you want to be able to blend the garbanzo beans nice and smooth. And that's, you know, what hummus is really all about, is the garbanzo beans. They're these cute little beans. Now you can cook your own, or I just buy them canned. Honestly, I'm not really a hummus fan. I should be. I like all the ingredients in hummus, but when they're together, I don't love them. But my kids love them, and so I just keep all of the ingredients on hand, and they make this all the time. And I just keep pita bread, and this is one of their absolute favorite after school snacks, and it's way better for them than like the cake I always have around. So I feel like it's better to have a canned garbanzo bean and make sure that they have this around. So we're actually not going to start with the garbanzo beans though. We are going to start with the lemon juice. Oh, I lost track because I'm doing this out of order. We're going to start with the lemon juice and the tahini. Now tahini is sesame paste, and there's not a substitution for this. If you don't have tahini, just leave it out. It's better to have the hummus without tahini paste than to try to make up for it in another way. It used to be really, really hard to find, but I actually just found this at Walmart last week at my local store in the middle of Utah, where we don't have a lot of cultural differences. So I think it's becoming more and more mainstreamed, which is good news. And also I usually order on Amazon, but it was local, so yay. So the first thing we're going to do is whip up that tahini, and oh, I'm out of spatulas, and that is not a spoon. All right. So tahini and lemon juice. And we're going to whip that up. Connie, the meatballs are done. I'm going to show everything at the end. Oops, I put this on, the lid on wrong. That was it for the meatballs. It's just melt the sauce and add the meatballs. Oh, okay. Okay, here we go. I thought I had this plugged in, and it turns out I did not. So, puree this. All right. So now this whips up nice and smooth and creamy. And we're going to add the rest of the ingredients. So I have olive oil, which I forgot to grab. Okay. So 2 tablespoons of olive oil. And 2 cloves of garlic. You can do 1 clove of garlic if you prefer. I tend to be garlic heavy, so I am adding a second one because we like garlic around here. And then we're going back to our spices, and I'm going to add some paprika and some cumin next. So now some people only add paprika to the top because they like the way that the color looks without the paprika, but I add paprika into my hummus as well. Kind of feel free to omit that one if you don't love it. And then salt. Everything's better with salt. And now we're going to puree it again. Okay, so now that's all pureed together, and we're going to add half of the garbanzo beans. Now I've drained the beans, but I've kept a little bit of extra liquid, and the reason for the extra liquid is that that's really weird. Oh, my side camera turned off. Lovely, lovely. You gotta love it when that happens. We're gonna let it cool down for a minute. You only add half the garbanzo beans, and then but when you drain it, you keep a little bit of liquid because we might need it later depending on the thickness of this hummus. So we're going to puree that again. Okay. So this is after pureeing the first, oh, I don't have to turn it, huh? The first part of the beans, I'm going to do that again, a little bit longer. And so now we're going to add the rest of the garbanzo beans. You could add them all at once, but I find that adding everything at once, they tend to get like caught and doesn't puree as smoothly. So just my preference. If your food processor can handle it all at once and still get a really great outcome, just throw them all in. This is where having the side camera would be so nice. So it's a little bit thick and it's a little bit chunky. So what I'm gonna do is while it's processing, I'm gonna add some of this liquid. So let's open this up. See if you can see that. Just add a little bit. Until you're happy with the texture. I would only do about like a tablespoon at a time. All right, let's take a look at that. All right, so it's getting smoother. I'm gonna go a little bit longer and then we're gonna call that good and move on to another recipe. Happy with that texture. So we're going to refrigerate that with the other refrigerated dips and move on to the next recipe. All right, so that's 6 recipes down and we have 2 left. And then we're going to show how all of the recipes turned out and what they look like finished. All right, so these 2 quesos are totally done. They did not, they don't take very long at all if you're doing them on the stove. Again, I would definitely recommend doing them in the slow cooker versus, you know, trying to make 8 dips in an hour. And, oh, the meatballs are done, so I'm gonna turn that off too. Okay. Wipe down the counter. We're starting to collect a mess again. Do a little cleaning. And we're going to move on to the jalapeno dip, one of my absolute favorites. In fact, I have a batch of it already done and in my fridge that I've been enjoying for the last week because it is one of our family favorites. But I'm willing to have an extra batch in the fridge to show it to you guys because it's so good. All right. Got to get my blender out. It's kind of stuck back here behind all the recipe ingredients prep. Oh. Because my blender is part of Vera, my Bosch, so. Okay. And blender attachment. There we go. Okay. And all the ingredients are over here. Couldn't figure out where everything was. Okay. So the first thing, I'm missing an ingredient. No, I'm not. Okay. I found it. So this is a creamy jalapeno dip that is a copycat recipe of a restaurant down in Texas. I was living in Houston and we had lost our job and we're moving in with my in-laws, which was really fun. And my girlfriends wanted to take me out to eat, you know, the day that we moved as a goodbye, which was really sweet. And so we went to this restaurant. I'd lived there for a couple years and I'd never been. This Tex-Mex place called Chewy, and the food was great, don't get me wrong, but the dip that they serve at the beginning was divine. And the first thing that I did once we got the internet up and running when we moved was to Google search and find all the recipes I could, and I tried every single one that was labeled that was from this restaurant. And along the way, it turned into this. And I went back to Chewy's last year when I was in Houston visiting my parents, and my recipe is not really as much of a copycat as I thought. Either that or they've changed their recipe. I'm not sure whose is different anymore because it's been years since I first had it. But so The base of this recipe calls for ranch dressing, but I feel like there's a big difference in the ranch dressing that you make at home with milk and mayo and ranch dressing packet or your own spices versus like the store-bought stuff. I tried making it once with just the pre-made ranch dressing and I did not like it. So I highly recommend doing it this way. So, spatula. So we're gonna make ranch dressing first. So that would be mayo and milk and ranch dressing packet or spices, however you like to do that, and blend it. Oh, plug it in, then blend it. I'm going back to my dorky roots, you guys. Ugh, must be so embarrassed by me. Now, honestly, you could probably just throw all the ingredients in and blend it once versus blending this first, but this is how I always do it, and I'm a creature of habit. So, we have the dressing. Next up, we are going to add green chilies and some sour cream. Some garlic powder, about half a teaspoon. Some salt, also about half a teaspoon. Oh, that's a little too much. And some lime juice, also about half a teaspoon. And then my favorite part, and that would be the cilantro. So I have heard all the stories about how some people hate cilantro and some people love it, but there's nobody like in the middle. And it's true, I've never met anybody in the middle, but so I just can't comprehend not liking cilantro. So I'm really grateful that whatever that taste bud is, that I have the like cilantro one. So now the recipe called for like a couple tablespoons, and I usually just rip off some from the top and then go from there, from what I think would blend into. I don't want to chop cilantro and I'm just going to put it in a blender. So for this size batch, a regular size batch, I just use probably half of the cilantro bunch, and if I'm doing a double batch, which I tend to do, I use like the whole head of the cilantro bunch and I throw it in there. Oh, it smells so good. And now we're going to blend it again. Look how good this looks. It's this beautiful green color because of the cilantro. And next up is the jalapenos. Now I use pickled jalapenos because I love the tanginess and the bite of that. And you get them in a can, a jar, and they come with onions and carrots, which you don't want to use. In fact, this is where you personalize it. You can add a couple jalapenos or a lot of jalapenos. Remember, the flavor of jalapenos is going to get stronger in the dip as time goes on. So if you're going to make it like a day ahead, watch that. But usually like a week later, it hits the point that my nose is running pretty bad, but the first day it's not like that. So they come whole like this, and I don't know about you, but oh, there we go. This little part right here, I'm sure it would blend up, but it still kind of creeps me out. So I usually just cut that part off. It's probably totally wasteful and super, super silly of me. But the first time I used these, I was like, what do I do? Because, I mean, let's face it, in recipes, it usually calls for de-seeding the jalapeno, right? So, and all the jalapenos are different sizes, so it's hard to give a straight rule, like always put 3 jalapenos in, because like that first one that I showed you was super small, and then these last 2 have been on the bigger side. So I tend to add, well, at the end of the day, you tend to add the entire jar because I'm a spice freak and I love things that clean out my nostrils. So, but I don't know. So add a couple, close the lid, turn it on, and then taste it. It's really the best way to go. Now, when I went back when I went back to Texas and I tried this again at the restaurant last year, I noticed that theirs wasn't as green as mine and theirs was a little bit chunkier. So what I've started doing is pureeing it really good and then leaving the jalapeno bits a little bit on the chunkier side. But in order to not have it be as green, I would have to use less cilantro, and I just love the level of cilantro. So mine's always going to be a little bit greener than theirs. But anyway, clean spoon. It has a nice little bite. If I was gonna like eat it straight tonight, oh yeah, there's the kick. I feel it now. I would probably add a couple more jalapenos, but because I already have a batch finished and this is gonna wait a couple days before I down it, we seriously like could drink this stuff. I also use this same exact dip on top of my tamales and on top of my burritos and on top of enchiladas. I make this recipe all the time. It's super versatile. So I'm just gonna leave it like this because I know in a couple days it'll be a little bit stronger. So number 7, done. Putting it in the fridge. And then we are moving on to the last recipe. And then we're gonna look at all 8 and see how they all turned out. And I get to taste them all. It's the best part of this, right? Then I get to feed my children dinner of dips. Who doesn't want 8 different dips for dinner? I know my kids are really looking forward to it. All right, clean up. I spilled some jalapeno juice and I do not want to accidentally put my hand in that later and then like touch my eye. I mean, I don't know why you would touch something strange on your counter and then touch your eye, but just in case. Better to be clean than sorry. Okay, so this last dip is another one on the sweeter side. This is my fruit dip. I forgot to get all the toffee bits. They're downstairs in my food storage room. Man, as organized as you think you are when you get ready for one of these, something always goes wrong. And my kids are gonna have no idea where they are, so I'm gonna have to go get them. All right, fruit dip. This is only a couple ingredients as well. So cream cheese, and I bring it out and put it on my counter like 2 hours beforehand to let it soften. Melissa, you are from Ohio, hello. From California, hello, it's nice to see you. Yum, you're getting hungry. So am I. You love the variety of my options. Thank you so much. I'm glad that you enjoy the variety. I know that it probably bugs people. Karen and Connie, I'm not following your conversation anymore. I'm so sorry. I hope that it wasn't something that I needed to follow because I'm way behind. I apologize. I'm really good at like sharing or reading, but not really doing both. Blah, blah, blah. Sorry, I know, Connie, I'm going super fast because I'm trying to show all 8 recipes in a short amount of time because each recipe on their own would have been a really boring video. So I apologize that it seems a little bit chaotic. In my mind, when I planned this, it was a lot smoother. And now it's turning into chaos. So I apologize. Wasn't the goal, I should say, or plan. All right, let's see if we can get the second camera working, or third camera working again. It would be really nice to have the side. Oh, there it is. It'd be really nice to have the side angle for this one. Okay. This is the fun of being your own tech person. When things go right, they go really, really right. When things go wrong, they go really, really wrong. All right, cream cheese. Oh, I want the other angle. Softened, and we're gonna beat it. And done, beaten. Okay, brown sugar and powdered sugar. And break up that brown sugar, and we're gonna beat it again. Be careful so the sugar doesn't go flying. Or use a bigger bowl. Be responsible and use sugar beating. All right. So this is the part of this dip where you want to add about 2/3 cup toffee bits, which I have in bulk in like a 5-pound bag in my food storage room downstairs. But I don't know exactly where they are and I'd have to find them. So we're just going to ignore that. Call it the fail of the episode. And we're going to move on to the end, and that is bringing all the recipes back, showing you how they look finished, and eating. All right, so I'm gonna put this in the fridge for now while we start at the beginning and work our way down. If I can fit it in the fridge. There's a lot of recipes in here. Okay. Okay, so starting with the early recipes, we're going to go to that first chili con queso. And let's do the top shot. All right, so because I turned it off and let it sit, it has a little bit of a crust on top. But the best part about fake cheese like Velveeta is that you just stir it in and it re-melts. So again, I recommend using a slow cooker because then you don't have to worry about like the cheese burning at the bottom. Maybe to this. And you can use regular chips for this dip, but growing up, we always used Fritos. It's one of my dad's favorite, and now I can't really eat it any other way. So, Fritos and cheese dip, and I like the big scoops because it can hold a lot more dip. And it's really hot. You guys probably think I'm kidding, but I'm not. This is literally totally going to be my dinner. Not only tonight, but for the next couple of nights probably, because I love all these dips. So, first chili con queso recipe. Is there any question about this one? I'll re-go over the ingredients really fast. So this one was sauteing your own onions and pepper in butter. You can use olive oil if you prefer. And then adding a picante sauce and Velveeta together. Melt it in your slow cooker. Perfect party food. Serve it with chips or Fritos. Any questions about this one? Oh man, Courtney, fatty foods are like my only food group, so I can't even imagine. I'm so sorry. I hope that everything works out in the end. How long have I been on YouTube, Melissa? It'll be 3 years in March, about to my 3-year YouTube anniversary. You're from Alabama. Hello, Scraft the Beast. It's nice to see you. You're doing awesome, and I'm sure we all appreciate you doing this. Cheerful Cruise. Your name is cheerful, so of course you're going to have a positive spin. Thank you. I'm glad that you appreciate that. Sharon, you're doing great. You're loving this. I'm glad. It's a little crazy, but so am I. And honestly, if you guys weren't watching, and this was just me making 8 different dips for a party, which is totally something I would do, it would pretty much be the same way. I would have gotten everything prepped. I would have started all the things. They'd be done around the same time. And then I would forget something and mess up. And it would pretty much be just like this, except I wouldn't have anybody to talk to. Tamara, how often are you on? I do lives at least once a week, usually Wednesday mornings. Today got put off a little bit. These would be so good on a burrito with chicken. Everything's good on a burrito. Hello. I mean, everybody talks about Taco Tuesday. What about burrito every day? Oh, real. All right, so don't talk with a mouthful. Oh, wrong camera. Another camera turn off. All right, so this was dip number 1, and you just keep it in your crock pot and your guests will love it. All right, so now on to queso number 2. And this was the Chili's Copycat recipe. This is their spicy one. So this is made with Velveeta, of course, a no bean chili. I like the Hormel brand, but any brand will work. This one had a ton of spices, cayenne pepper, chili powder, cumin, paprika. It also had a little bit of lime juice. This is definitely on the spicier side, but wrong camera again. But it lives up to its hype, and it is definitely a, if you like the Chili's spicy queso, you don't have to go anymore. I have never had any of their other food. Shouldn't say that. I haven't really enjoyed many of their other dishes, but this one I love. So if you, like me, only go to Chili's for this dip, now you don't have to do that anymore. All right, so for this one, I use regular tortilla chips. I like flour better than corn, except for Fritos, which kind of a class of their own. All right, so I like to, oh, broke my chip. I like to make sure that I get a nice big piece of that beef from this. Oh, I lost my beef. Now I'm super saucy from my chili and my chips breaking. It takes talent to be this coordinated. I'm just telling you. Okay, this is gonna be hot. It's a lot of cheese. Oh, so good. Usually, I make these dips throughout the year, anytime I'm craving one. I've never had them all at once. I don't know how I'm going to pick which one to finish first. All right. So, are there, ooh, that spiciness kind of kicks you right in the nose. I love spicy food though, so for me, that's a good thing. If you don't love spicy food, the best part about making your favorite recipes at home versus going out to eat is that you can control all of that. You can cut down on the cayenne pepper and the paprika and the cumin and the chili powder to whatever ratio that you want and still have that flavor without all the heat. So that's one of the reasons that I love making my own food from scratch. So are there any questions about this dip? This is real life. That's why you like watching me. Oh, Marion, you are so sweet. I'm so glad that I've kept you laughing, I guess, at me or with me while you're recovering. You love my crazy. It makes me fun to watch. Well, that's good because I'm really crazy. Lillian, it's just how you like your dips. Good. Hello from Florida. All right. Hey, sweetie. All right, so dip number 2. That was the end of that one. All right, so. Oh, this is heavy. Oh, this one's heavy. I should probably work out more. So this one wasn't a dip at all. This is our one non-dip recipe, and this is the meatballs. Oh, can you even see that steam? Steamy gloriousness. My kids are just, I wish you could see, they're just waiting on the side for me to be done so they can eat all of this food. All right, so how my mom serves it as a party is in a shallower pan, so it's not quite so deep. And then with pretty toothpicks. Oh, I'm gonna have to, it feels like I'm bobbing for apples. This is why you don't use a deep pan. Haha, I got one. All right. So again, this was the oh, not focusing. No focus, there we go. So, still not focusing. We'll stay back here. So this was the 3 ingredient, oh, I don't want to put my hand there because I'm afraid it will, there we go. Afraid it will drip on me. The 3 ingredient meatball. I don't know where the focal point is. There we go. Ha! I was off to the side. 3 ingredient meatball. So, sounds super, super strange, but it sounds like a lot of you have a variation of this of your own. Grape jelly, enchilada sauce. Some people said that they used chili sauce or barbecue sauce. I think that spicy and sweet is what works so well together. And then just your favorite meatball. I get mine from Costco. Not sponsored, just love Costco. Mm. Ooh. Hot. Ooh, hot. Hot. That was a big bite too. Woo. I have to just swallow so I can talk. Remember, the meatballs are already cooked, so you just have to heat them through. So this one's a super, super fast one to make. Has the fewest ingredients, easiest one to make. All right, next one. The cake mix and sprinkles dip. So one of our sweet dips. And this is one that you actually finish right as you are getting ready to serve it. So let's bring in the sprinkles. So since it's been in the fridge, it's thickened up. You want to give it a nice stir. And then we're going to add sprinkles to it. Kind of a funfetti cake mix dip. Oh, I think it needs more sprinkles. But it does, the sprinkles do, the dye in the sprinkles does bleed into the dip, so you don't want to overmix this. You just kind of want to barely mix it and then serve it right away. And for this one, I serve this one with either animal crackers, or earlier where you talked about like pound cake. My brain went blank again. Or I like to use, if I can open the bag, Nilla cookie wafers, but any slightly sweet biscuit would be really good with this. I also like it with fruit and stuff like that. So the sprinkles are really just to add color because it's pretty boring white on white dip. There you go. I almost ate it without changing the cameras, and what would you do if you couldn't see me eat? I mean, that would just be silly. I don't know why I do this myself. Now, normally, I would say let it refrigerate for about 2 hours before you served it. Once it's cold, you can totally go for it, but I like the consistency better after the 2-hour mark. All right, the next dip was the veggie dip. And I had to clean up my fridge yesterday just for this video so that I would have room for all of this dips. All right. So again, same thing with the veggie dip. I would want it to traditionally refrigerate for like, I don't know, 2 hours. So I like carrots or broccoli or cauliflower. But I know that a lot of people have more veggies that they like than me. So whatever veggies you like to add to dip, do that. Those are pretty much the extent of the veggies I enjoy. It's not a very big list. I have a lot of cake that I enjoy, way more than veggies. This is Body by Cake. Anyway, so let's get some of this dip. I'm gonna go with a little piece of cauliflower because I've learned my lesson not to take too big of a bite. And I like my, dip to veggie ratio apparently to be about the same. I definitely don't skimp when it comes to like the dressings or the toppings on my stuff. Cheese, bacon, boom. Can't go wrong with that. It's basically just a ranch dip with cheese and bacon. Period. Easy peasy. Everybody loves it. If you like vegetables, everybody likes it. The next one we made is the hummus. I keep going back and forth to my fridge. I almost need another camera just on my fridge, except my fridge is old and about to die, so I need a new fridge before it makes a camera appearance. It's like 15 years old. It's kind of beat up. What do I serve this with? My pita bread. I left it on the table. It's way over there. I guess we can just go with chips. Or I can try to reach the pita with my microphone. We'll see. Wish me luck. And my pita bread is not over there. I'm a big fat liar. Not quite sure where it went. Okay. Well, I have these really cute, adorable little flour taco shells, so we're gonna go with that because they're kind of like mini pitas, right? They're not as thick, but they're so cute. I literally bought these because they're little, and I like little things. I haven't even like made anything with them. They're just so cute. Okay, sorry, tangent. You guys got to bring me back around. All right, so usually I cut my whatever I serve this with. Oh my word, pita. I only got like 2 hours sleep last night, you guys. I feel like I'm best when I'm tired though. I usually serve my hummus with pita, and I usually cut my pita into 6, but some people like veggies with their hummus. There's a lot of options with hummus. So usually you would serve it in a very pretty bowl. So imagine a pretty bowl, and you would add like, usually people add like little swirls with their spoon. So there's my swirls. And then you drizzle a little bit of olive oil in your swirls. And then you take some paprika and you sprinkle some paprika on top. It's the finishing touches that really make it. I usually try to keep a couple of garbanzo beans off to the side, and then I'll top that as well. But I forgot to grab a couple extras, even though I wrote myself a note about pulling out a couple extra garbanzo beans. And then a little bit of parsley. So there's our pretty food processor hummus, right? I know, you guys all wish you could be as fancy as me. But hey, I don't actually have any company. It's just for me, and I have to do the dishes after this. So we're gonna leave it like this. So I'll get in here and get a pretty piece and bring that into focus so you can see the thickness and the texture of this. And again, this is another one that I would say you probably wanted this to refrigerate for at least an hour, but honestly, my kids never do. They finish making it and they eat it right away. So this is one of those dips that if you're looking for something last minute, technically you can eat it right away. I would say it's better after an hour of refrigeration, but if you're going someplace and you're like, I need something to take, this is an easy one. So, garlic. Oh, I got a little little eye twinge from the lemon juice in this. Woo! I will say, I think the tahini makes a huge difference. With the tahini in it, I actually like hummus, and without it, I just, I could take it or leave it, no big deal. But when you can find tahini and add that to it, I feel like it makes a huge difference. So, garbanzo beans, tahini, lemon juice, cumin. I like some paprika in mine as well, but that's optional. A little bit of salt, olive oil, puree it together, and that's hummus. Super, super easy. Okay, where am I located? Lillian, that is a great question. I am in or close to Salt Lake City, Utah. You wish you were healthy. I wish I was healthy too. My closet wishes I was healthy for sure. But yours is body by breadish type of produce and licorice. Oh, Tony, we need to talk. Licorice is definitely a food group, but is it real licorice, or are you calling something like Twizzlers licorice? Because then we might have a disagreement. I'm just saying, I don't feel like waxy food group that's in the shape of licorice technically counts as licorice. Just me. All right, anyway, sorry. Let's move on. We have 2 dips left, so that is our first 6 finished. So the jalapeno dip. I actually made this, like I said, last week. So I'm going to bring out the thicker and fully refrigerated one. That's why I waited to make that one last, because I knew I had a better final product to show you. If I can get to it behind all my other leftovers. Oh, you know what I should get is a camera inside my fridge, right? Because then as I'm grabbing things out of the fridge, you could see me. There's a couple YouTube channels. Oh, Oh, lovely. When you find a spoon in your dip, right? I guess I should be grateful that whoever left the spoon in there didn't just eat all the dip. So I actually have some left to show you. All right, so this is after it's been refrigerated, and it gets much thicker than it is right away. So this is definitely another one that I like. I like it much better after it refrigerates. I feel like the flavors really come together. Right away, I feel like you just get that kick from the jalapeno, but the flavor's not as great. But after it's sat for a while, I feel like the flavor is amazing. And again, you can pure it till it's totally smooth, but I have found that I kind of like it a little bit chunky. So this is another eat with chips, corn chips or flour chips, whatever you prefer. Look at the thickness of that. So good. All right, this is, I want to say this one's like 5 days old, which means it's definitely going to have a kick because I made it with a kick. And that jalapeno flavor just gets stronger after a couple of days. Include my meals out. I think this jalapeno dip is a food group at my house all by itself. Love this. Always have some of it around. So good. If you're sensitive to spicy stuff, I would definitely say put less jalapenos in. But I personally think it's still worth trying, especially if you're going to be eating it on things like tacos or burritos or enchiladas or tamales versus eating it as a dip. If you're eating it as a dip, it's definitely has a kick. If you're eating it as a topping on other things, less of a kick and more of just a really great creamy flavor. All right, one last dip left. And that is my toffee dip. So a lot of people add the toffee right away to this dip, and then they let it sit for, a couple hours in the fridge. But I find that once you add the toffee chunks, and remembering we're pretending that I added the toffee chunks because you don't want to watch my fuzzy kitchen for 10 minutes while I go look for the toffee. You know what? I have homemade toffee right over there. I could crush and add to it. But we'll just pretend. If you add the toffee right before you serve it, kind of like adding the sprinkles to the other dip right before you serve it, the toffee will stay crunchy. And personally, I'm all about this sweet dip with those crunchy toffee bits. Once you add the toffee in, the toffee tends to soften and soften and soften and soften, and pretty soon you're left with that flavor but without any of the toffee crunchy bits in it, and that's just personally not my preference. So I definitely recommend, forgot to cut up my apple. I definitely recommend adding the toffee right before you're serving it if you really want to impress people. Which, why else are we making all these dips? Ooh, I'm getting at the sharp knife. Only because the other one's dirty. Okay. And I'm literally just cutting one little piece so we can do this. All right, and I'm not really a big fruit or vegetable person. I think I've mentioned it many, many, many times. But I will eat apple with this dip. My kids also like bananas with this dip and strawberries with this dip. And remember, it's supposed to have beautiful chunks of toffee in this as well. But I could eat an entire apple with this dip. But it's kind of like the whole have a little apple with your toffee dip. I'm trying to be better. I really am trying to be better. Okay, I'll get rid of like half of that and take a smaller bite. I miss the toffee chunks. But that's it. All 8 dips. So I will stay on for a couple minutes and answer questions about the chaos of these 8 recipes. And yeah, thank you so much for watching. I have no idea what I'm going to make next week. Usually I try to pre-plan it, but it's right after the holidays and I was sick and I'm just trying to catch up again and get back into the groove. So I will be on next week. I will be live next week. I just have no idea what I'll be making next week. So if there's something that you'd like to see, leave me a comment. I'll add it to the rotation. I have a list of like 15 things that I'm planning on making. I just kind of haven't sat down and narrowed it down. So thanks for watching. I hope you guys enjoyed the chaos of these 8 easy dip recipes. You can't see, but my kids are all bouncing in the background waiting to eat. So I will stay on and answer questions. And then yeah. So how long do they last refrigerated? It kind of depends on which dip. I would say with anything, it really lasts as long as the original ingredients. So the fresher the original ingredients, like if your cream cheese is really fresh, buddy, you can come and eat something if you want. You can go tell everybody else too, okay? Can you hear the stomping? Yes. It depends on how fresh your original ingredients are. The fresher your original ingredients, then the longer your dips will last. If like your milk is about to expire and you use it in a dip like this, then the dip won't last as long. I would say all of them are safe for a week at least. I mean, not necessarily the dip with the meat in it. That's a little bit different. But all the rest of these, they don't have meats in them, right? It's really just the dairies. I would say at least a week. They just never last that long at my house. I've only had one go bad, and it's because I made like a quadruple batch of the jalapeno dip, and then I forgot about it. And I had like this little small portion left, and I found it like 4 months later when I was cleaning out my fridge, and of course it had gone bad. But a week is kind of my number. There's all the chips and stuff down there, buddy. What are you looking for?
What's in it?
So I don't know. It's kind of vague. Go with your gut. If it smells or has mold, don't eat it. Oh, this is the vegetable dip. That's the hummus.
Which one's the dip?
They're all dips. This is hummus dip. This is jalapeno dip. This is cake batter dip. This is fruit dip, vegetable dip. This is good with pita. And then those are cheese dips right there. They go with the crackers and meatballs. Okay. The jalapenos are pickled. Yes, they are set in pickle juice. Where's the can? All right, so this is pickled jalapeno peppers. This is about the only brand that I see them in at the store. They come in a ton of different sizes. Sometimes they come whole. Sometimes they come sliced. Sometimes they come in little like jalapeno rings. I like to buy the whole ones because they're easier to pull out and then add to the thing. But in a pinch, you can use any of them. You just want to make sure you're not adding all those pickled carrots and onions in there too. Just my personal preference. You can come and eat anything you want, buddy. Oh. Sorry, it's really late here and they're all super hungry. Okay, where would you find them in the grocery area? Yeah, Courtney, great. Buy the canned chilies. I found every grocery store is a little bit different, but I found these in the international Mexican aisle at my store. So buy the canned chilies, buy the enchilada sauce, stuff like that for sure. Yeah, Spanish food area. At your house, dip as a food group. Oh, for sure, Tony. I agree. Tony, you're so welcome. I hope you guys enjoyed these and give them a try. Have I missed any questions? If I have, let me know. I'm happy to answer them. Oh, it looks like Facebook is frozen. Oh, that's so sad. All right, well, I'm going to scroll back really fast and see if I missed anything. It looks like we got it all. Late at night like this, I think is a little bit busier for people. So thanks for watching. Don't forget to subscribe. If you're on YouTube, hit the little bell icon so you get notified when I'm live or when I post a new video. If you're on Facebook, just follow along and you should get a notification when I have a live event scheduled. You guys gonna smile or just stand there creepy like? You can be in here, but you gotta be quiet. And if you're on Facebook, you'll get a notification when I pre-schedule something, and then you can set to follow it along, and that will announce when I'm live and all that good stuff. Follow me on social media, and your kids do the same as yours when you're live. I know, right? Hey, that's for this one. Cake batter. This was from your birthday party. Well, you want to try it? Tell me what you think. He just wants the cookies. Anyway, so I think that's it. Yes, you came late. I'm so sorry. I'm just finishing up questions. Your 10-year-old is watching. Her name is Emmy. Emmy, hi. I like your mom, Courtney. Nice to meet you. I think that's it. I think we're done. I think all the questions are over and I now get to go do dishes. Yay me! Let me know if you use any of these at any parties that you have coming up. Also, Instagram has this new thing where you can follow a hashtag. So if you want to follow hashtag Ashlee Marie Recipes, you'll be notified anytime I share a recipe over there on Instagram, or Ashlee Marie Cakes if you just want to see my cakes, or Ashlee Marie Videos if you just simply want to see videos. So thanks for watching. Thanks for helping me. Thanks for supporting me so that I can keep making these videos and keep feeding these crazies. And yeah, I think we're done. Jennifer! Hi! It's so nice to see you. And goodbye, because I'm getting off right now. Hope you guys all have if I can get to the right screen, fantastic evening, and I will see you next week. Bye.